Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the EOE online podcast. And today, I actually don't know if I'm gonna do this as a cultural corner episode or something to say, but I've done a campaign on womanhood, and it was about the development of womanhood over time. And so, if you haven't seen it, please do check out my video on YouTube where I look at the more general consensus of how women are viewed. And yeah, but today I'm gonna quickly be talking about my own experience in relation to the 5 subjects, which are gender equality, traditional gender roles, rapidly changing societies, religious and cultural interpretations, and leaders and change makers. So when it comes to gender equality, the prominent experience that came into my head was, as a young girl, I'm very boisterous. I like adventure. I like to, be rough. And I was always told to play like a girl. Like even to the I don't know how to word it, but now when I shave my head bald, my dad will have a problem with it because it's like girls are supposed to have hair. Even just something as basic as that is like, okay, that's very silly because not necessarily. Like, if I want to be bald, I can be bald. And when it comes to being told to play like a girl, it just feels like we're not given space and permission to be the fullness of who we are, because a girl is only supposed to be a certain way, and that way is often quite restrictive. It's often quite poised in a way not of class, but in a way of shrink, play very small and stay out of the way, and I don't like that. When it comes to traditional gender roles, I am 27 now, and everywhere I go, oh, do you have a boyfriend? Do you have a man? Okay, my grandma keeps on calling me to ask me if I have a boyfriend and say, don't worry, he's gonna send one soon. The other day I went to this Nigerian restaurant in Coventry, and I used to work in a Nigerian restaurant, so I know quite a few of the people who go to the new one now. And one of the guys was speaking to me, and he was like, oh, why don't you have a man? And I was like, what do I need a man for? And he tried to break it down for me, and then he was like, don't worry, I'm gonna find you. And I said, please don't. I did not ask you to do all of that. And there's nothing wrong with me being single. And I think for a lot of women, if you're an older woman and you're single, they'll, oh, it's probably because of this, she's probably this way, there's probably something wrong with her. Maybe she just wants to be single. I was watching this video the other day, it came up on my Instagram, and this guy was talking about Maya and how she married herself and how she's doing it to her. I think she has a podcast called about how it's her choice to be single. And he's like, no, it's not her choice. Her standards are just so high that she has to be single. That's a choice. To say, I'm not going to accept anything that I don't want. And so I'm going to focus on the things in my life that actually that bring me joy. We can experience intimacy with relationships that are not romantic, because intimacy is not just about sex. And so I feel like that's why people think of single women, something being wrong with them. And yeah. And my dad used to always say, oh, don't wait until you're 30 to have children. And because of that, I think subconsciously it put pressure on me to do certain things by a certain age. But it just wasn't working out that way. And I'm still a little bit confused. I know for certain that I'm bi. But on some days, honestly, guys, I just think I'm gay. I just don't want men to even look at me. So yeah. And then the third one is rapidly changing societies. And you know what's so funny? Me even saying that I'm bi, before, I don't think I ever really, no, obviously in my younger ages, I hid it. I came out to my family in 2024, I believe, or something like that. But it's even so, people still feel like that's not right for you because women are supposed to. And in like the other way in which it happens, because obviously not everyone's going to relate to having different sexual preferences, but in terms of what we're told we're supposed to be, instead of someone asking, oh, what do you think, or how do you feel as an individual, not being classed or grouped by your gender. And because of how much masculine energy is in my birth chart, first of all, but also how independent I am and how much I love that, I've had people come in and it's like, oh, don't worry, I will change that for you. You won't have to be like that. And I'm like, who said that I want you to change anything about my reality? When I was volunteering at uni and I was working so hard, my ex one day, he said, oh, I wish I could just pay you to do nothing. I said, for what? I don't want to do nothing. Like, what are you talking about? And it's that whole rhetoric that we've been raised that a man's going to come in and give us the life and da-da-da-da-da-da. And that's not necessarily what everyone wants. And for a lot of people, I would even say to make sure you still, like, no one can create your life. It's still based on you. So yeah. The next topic is about religious and cultural interpretations. And so for me, when I was growing up, so both sides of my family are a mix of Christian and Muslim. My stepmom was Jehovah's Witness. So I ended up studying all of these religions and then growing older, being interested in Buddhism. Even when we was younger on school trips and we used to go to the temple or to I don't remember. But oh no, it's I don't remember what the Jewish building is called, Holy Space. But I used to be interested in all of these spaces because they were spiritual. And so as I've been growing older and like learning about my own ancestry and my lineage and about Ifa and African spirituality and things like that, for women who exist outside of what religion says a woman is supposed to be, the shame game is disgusting. They'll call you a witch. They'll banish you to hell, not even after death, while you're still here, because you can't even exist as you are without someone having a problem with who you are and your authenticity. And I feel like it's frustrating because no one's asking you to change your beliefs. I'm just asking you not to judge me for mine. Like, allow me to exist as I am, where I am as well. Because for some people, it's just that they're learning. For a lot of people, you're not allowed to ask questions. And that was one of my issues of why I started moving away from it, because you're not just going to tell me something is where it is. And when I ask why or a question around it, it's not even that you're saying, oh, I'm not sure actually, or let's go and find the answer. You're punishing me for even having the question. How dare you doubt how things are written anyway? But when you look at the history of how things came, there's room for doubt, and that's the human mind. So yeah, for women who are willing to ask the questions and say why to everything. That's me, because I'm like, why did you do that? Why did your body react in that way? And that's how you really get to know something for yourself and build a relationship with it, as opposed to it just being put on you and you accept it because that's what you've been told to do. And then the final category is about women as leaders and change makers. And when I started my business, I didn't know how much being a woman was going to impact my journey in business, from my capabilities and how I work, and and like being able to use my intuition and connecting to my womb. And that means embracing my emotions in a world that says that you should ignore them, or that they're kind of in the way, or maybe that doesn't say that but behaves that way. Also, in terms of my encounters with people, for example, I shared on my Instagram about the Applause magazine owner who offered me an opportunity to work on a magazine, but then basically said that I can only work there if I would date him. And it was very manipulative. He was how much older than me at the time? Maybe 7 or 8 years. So he's in his 30s. I'm 22 at that point in time. And I was gutted. I was in tears because I'm like, I have so much potential. Working on a magazine was a dream for me because when I was younger, I used to make magazines. Like, just get paper, cut stuff up, put it in, draw, write, all of that stuff. And then the other one is also like people downplaying me being in business. Oh, that's cute. And I'm like, excuse me, just because I'm a young woman, it doesn't make what I'm doing cute. Like, my ambition is so, so, so valid. And I don't want anyone to discount anything that I do because of the fact that I have a vagina. Like, that's just so silly. It doesn't even make sense to me. And then moving on from that, in terms of being a leader and a change maker, in this position, I feel like I have to speak up on my experiences and on the experiences of other women, because for a lot of us, we're not able to. For a lot of us, we're told to be quiet about it, whether it's from people who are abusing us or people around who are uncomfortable with the fact that we're being abused, but it's normal, so we should just normalize it. And so that's why I created the Guide to Non-Consensual Victimization and Trauma, because me speaking about, I have trauma across the board. I did a video, where I spoke about the different types of abuse and the different types of trauma. And in that video, I literally said, Ebony, why do I tick all the boxes? Like, my experiences fit into this. And because of my experience of trying to talk about things I've been through, both my sexual abuse and non-sexual violence as well, or non-sexual abuse, the way in which people respond is like, hey, you need to keep that to yourself. But the more that we keep it to ourselves, the more that the people doing it continue to get away with it. And so the more women who are becoming outspoken, creating their own platforms where no one is telling them what they're allowed to say and what they're not allowed to say, how they're supposed to present themselves, that is probably what's causing the biggest shift in our society right now. And I'm loving it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm loving the empowerment that I feel and that I see. And then I'm also absolutely loving watching people crumble who felt like they had jurisdiction over women because they're women. No, you don't. We're all still people. We all have the right to discern and to choose for our own lives. And so, this has been a video about womanhood. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please do check out any other episodes from the podcast. And I'll speak to you soon.